couple
No, you're not.
parishioners. Yeah.
Off the property now.
Where's that badge, just by the way?
Off the
No,
property.
can I see what it is?
You want to see this? Off the property.
Whoa, did you
Whoa,
just
whoa, whoa.
flash your gun? We
No.
want to see your badge.
No.
You
see
did.
Jack crap.
You did.
Get off the property.
Okay. Are you police?
What did you
or-
flash at us?
Doesn't matter.
You literally threatened us with your gun, dude.
Okay, look, he's doing it again. That's
No,
crazy.
I'm not.
We're unarmed. You are. Put your other arm up.
You
We're
do
unarmed.
not belong on the property. How did you get on the property?
There's literally gates that you pull up to and they open.
No, there's not.
There it is.
How much do you want to bet we rolled the whole
Yeah.
time?
You got it. Please stop. What are you? How? Let me ask you. Really, guys? Seriously?
Yeah.
What are you doing out here?
Like the church. We're members.
You go to church here?
Yeah. And we're tithe members.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me show my receipt.
Receipt for
I
what?
gave Kenneth Copeland $69.
Okay,
A
great.
considerable sum.
Great.
Doing that with the gun was a little nuts.
Well, you know, when I get a call like this, what would you do?
What was the call?
The call is we got people on here that don't belong out here. That's what I got.
Gotcha.
So then when I pull up, I got a crowd of people, cameras flashing everywhere. What is going on?
Yeah.
And then you're on the runway.
Yeah.
We'll get out the runway.
Yeah, we'll meet at the churches.
Holy shit. He someone threw his gun on us.
That guy looks like fucking psycho.
Yeah, he was ready to
Kill someone.
Kill us for Copeland, dude?
Yeah. Oh shit. You know.
Did you just impersonate a police officer?
No, I didn't.
What'd
But
you
I
flash
identi-
at us?
Shut the camera
What'd you
off.
flash at us?
It is my badge for the job.
Can you show me that?
No, I already showed it to you.
But
And
we're
actually,
not.
that's probably more dangerous than a weapon, isn't it?
What?
This?
A camera? That's true.
What?
I know it is.
Is this another?
It
Okay,
brings
guys, what do you want to ask?
We were going with you to the church, but you pulled over.
Yeah, I did. You noticed that.
These are the 6 pillars that Kenneth used to raise all his money. The resort hotel he promised, he did not build. Kingdom Park, he did not build. He built the radio and TV center. He did not build Wisdom Heights.
Where are we going?
I'm saying he committed fraud.
Allegedly. I think of all places you would expect transparency, you would want it in a church. But the truth is, how KCM spends the donations it receives is something only they know, because churches are not required to file the Form 990, which is the financial disclosure form that other nonprofits must submit to the IRS. And the religion Kenneth claims to represent features its main character, Jesus, doing things like humbly riding a donkey into town and flipping over a table when men tried making money in the church, leading many to question, in what way does Kenneth's lavish lifestyle resemble anything remotely biblical? And furthermore, how is Kenneth allowed to enrich himself while completely being shielded by a tax code that was designed to protect genuine religious work?
The IRS has used 14-point criteria to categorize churches. And in the 80s, they were able to successfully prosecute a number of organizations that claimed to be churches that weren't, because they didn't have a membership that regularly attended the church. And nowadays, the IRS doesn't even want to investigate churches. And so Copeland's ministry is one of those that doesn't file a 990. So nobody knows. His donors don't know what's going on.
How is the IRS not looking into him?
That is a good question. I remember back in 2008, Senator Chuck Grassley attempted to do that. You know, in the United States, we have freedom of religion, and I'm grateful for that. But within, underneath that umbrella, you've got a wide berth there. If it's my religion to say, if you give me $1,000, God will heal you of cancer. If you're foolish enough to believe that, well, that's my religion. You agreed to it, so I'm covered. You can't come after me legally. You can't sue me.
So what are you here to do?
I'm here to point out a fraud.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Oh, I've got way more than this. I've got
I'm
more
sure you
data
do. Then
than...
why are you here?
Because
if
we
you've
wanted
got
to go
everything
see.
you need.
Oh, I
why
don't
are
have
you
everything. That's why I want to talk to George or Kenneth.
Okay, that's not going to happen today.
The only people that ever
Please
call me
tell
are
him to
lawyers.
shut the camera off.
I can't. That's his job.
Well, the next
We wanna
step
talk.
is for you to vacate the property.
I'm a paying member.
Yeah, I know. $69 or
No,
whatever
that
it
was Tommy.
Tommy. Okay.
$69.
Whatever.
Yeah, but we pay for it.
I can show you the
They can
receipt. I
actually
paid $69 to this church.
And as of right now, you guys are criminal trespassing. They've asked you to leave. After this, you guys will no longer be allowed on this property.
For how long?
Extending up to a year.
Up to a year?
A year?
Can we mark the calendar and visit you in a year?
I think they'll mark it for you.
That guy did flash a badge and his gun at us. Okay.
I identified myself.
We won't press charges if you invite us back into the church right now.
Really, you're going to negotiate that on camera?
I think that's fair. Okay, so hop in your cars and head out.
See you next year, guys! Yep. Take care, Steve. See you next year.
Have a blessed day.
Thank you. Well, boys, we got our money's worth this Sunday. I think there's probably a lot of good things that happen at that church. You could tell there was a tight-knit community. There's a lot of love in the air. I'm not taking that away from these guys. What we are talking about, though, is when it's that much money on the line, it's fair to know how that's being allocated, how that's being spent, and why things that he promised to people. Like, there are old ladies at their house that donated absurd sums of money to this guy. And nothing ever came to fruition. Hey, I'm going to build you a retirement home. Nothing.
In an effort to get both sides of the story, we've reached out to Kenneth Copeland multiple times for an interview, but similar to Scientology, he typically does not do interviews because the results tend to be disastrous. But in the interest of fairness, I wanted to highlight the good Kenneth Copeland Ministries, or KCM, has done, and it was actually harder to find than I expected. I read through their 2024 report, and here were 3 major things that I found they celebrated. They distributed 84 million ministry materials, meaning things like books, CDs, and digital downloads. The report claims that they brought over 7 million people to salvation in Jesus Christ, and I learned that KCM has very strong ties with Israel and highlights donating surveillance equipment, security cameras, and tactical gear to their Israeli partners. Interesting. And after reading the report, most of KCM's charitable giving seems to be in the form of things like Copeland branded Bibles, sermon audio, and even a Copeland Christmas album, leading some to ask, is this really charity, or is this just self-promotion disguised as ministry?
I'm here on the scene with private investigators. You guys have been looking into the Copelands for how long?
For several decades.
How do you think he came across the funds to get this kind of stuff?
Well, he already had the property when they discovered that when fracking was invented, and they discovered they had gas underground there. And so they started drilling in about 1995 and were hoping to be self-sufficient.
But do we know what kind of funds he used to buy this? Do you know if it was church funds or otherwise?
He raised funds for Revival Capital of the World in the 70s. Purchased the property. He says he got it for a steal. He flew over the property when he was flying back from Oklahoma and said God told him that's going to be your property. And they discovered oil on it after they owned it.
I heard the Lord, I was looking across there. I heard the Lord say, see that tree right over there? And I said, yes, sir.
If you're looking at it from his point of view, God surprised him with the oil, why not use it, right?
Right.
Anything to add to this oil kingdom we see behind us?
Typically, when you have a nonprofit organization with drilling like this occurring on the land, it would be considered unrelated business income because oil drilling has nothing to do with the ministry of the nonprofit organization. There's a form called a 990T for unrelated business income. It would typically be reported and taxed, but there's a crazy loophole in the law. If the property is paid for, they do not have to report it as unrelated business income.
If we were to look at all the people that have lived since biblical times to now, Kenneth Copeland would be in the top 0.00001% of lavish livers. I mean, there's kings that didn't even live like he does today.
And he uses those scriptures about Solomon, the riches of Solomon, to justify his wealth.
What if it's that same guy as yesterday just comes out and just starts firing?
I think that's the same. That's the same truck.
That's the same truck. Is it?
And there's the helicopter right there.
Look at that. Hey, Kenneth! We need some answers! If you could speak directly to Kenneth, what would you tell him?
I'd tell him pay your fair share of taxes and get out of politics.
Our goal was to storm Kenneth's private jet hangar and climb aboard his luxury aircraft. So we tracked down the place where his jets were stored, and this is what happened next.
We found out that Kenneth Copeland is not using his own tarmac to store his jets, but he's using this one right up here. So we're gonna see if we can find a way into his tarmac to see what his jets look like. You ready for a mission?
Yeah, we're at the Alliance Airport. There's a private hangar over here that holds Copeland's jet. And then whenever his buddies fly in on their private jets, they're all just racked against this fence line.
This is the place where the famous TikTok clip about Kenneth Copeland speaking like a demon to that lady, this is the famous area.
Since he got a bigger plane, his main plane can't land on that small of a runway anymore, so he had to move here.
What we're looking at right now is something that very few people in their life will ever even get access to. We're looking at a private airport. This is where the ultra wealthy fly out of. And the thing is, some of those people here at this airport are megachurch pastors. Jesus told people to go out and sacrifice, to go out and give into the people, to go out and struggle and suffer. He had disciples that were on the road preaching, that got persecuted, that got killed for spreading the message, living in great discomfort, living a life of sacrifice, living a life that they gave up everything they had for Jesus. You guys tell me in the comments, does that fly with you? Check this out, check this out. Look what we got here. First parking space next to the door, EMIC, Eagle Mountain International Church. So this is where his fancy car parks. He goes in there for his jet. They paid a premium for this spot. How do you people give money to this man? I don't get it. I really don't. The question that comes to my mind is, how in God's green earth does someone rationalize making almost $1 billion off the backs of their donors and their own church members when there are so many real issues in the world? Hunger, education, housing, mental health. That's what a church is supposed to do, is to help the community. But instead we have this son of a bitch who is just racking up the income. Again, I'm not calling his members stupid, but I don't understand it. How does it feel speaking right now? And would you say there is a climate of fear to speak out against Kenneth Copeland?
I mean, I'm scared, but I also, that's just how I was raised, and I feel like it's breaking that tie.
Is there a real fear that someone would come after you for speaking out against him?
Potentially.
What is it that you want the people to walk away with after they see this episode on Kenneth, but also the bigger problem of misappropriation of funds within the church community?
There's a lot of issues in the system, in the religious system in America, but it has all the tools it needs to fix a lot of things too. American Christians are the most generous givers in the world per capita. They give more away to charity than anybody else. So that means that the Christian church has more resources than anybody else. It has more time than anybody else. So here's the crazy part. If reform was brought into the religious sector in America with these religious exemptions, the Christian church has enough resources, just if we stopped most of the theft in churches, to solve the top 30 global social issues, and it would affect no one's bottom line. You could change the world tomorrow.
The Apostle Paul makes an interesting statement in 2 Timothy 3, verse 13. He says that evil men and impostors will grow from bad to worse, deceiving and being deceived. Both of those dynamics can be at work in the same person. Kenneth Copeland is actively deceiving people. He knows that he has given many, many false prophecies. I would tell Kenneth Copeland to repent. I would say to Kenneth Copeland, Kenneth, I don't hate you, but I do hate what you do.
If I could say one thing to Kenneth Copeland, it would be, dude, the church should be the most accountable, transparent organization in the world. It is the literal arbiter and voice of Jesus, or the manifested voice of that. And instead it's the darkest, shadiest sector in the entire economy.
Folks, as you probably know, this is just the tip of the iceberg of what needs to be exposed about churches and pastors out there. And no one covers this better than Nate and his team at thereligionbusiness.com. And if you use my exclusive code, TommyG74, you get a discount and the ability to watch the entire series of all the work they cover. This is a really important issue, so I highly recommend you go to their website, buy the videos, buy the series, and check it out further. Thank you guys for joining. We'll see you next week. Peace.